In 1999, a young tech entrepreneur opened a standard boring retirement account. He put exactly $1,700 into it. Just $1,700. By the end of 2019, that exact same account was worth $5 billion, and under United States law, he will never have to pay a single cent of tax on it when he withdraws it. Let that sink in for a moment. $5 billion. Zero tax. Now, your brain probably jumps straight to Hollywood tropes. You're thinking of offshore shell companies in the Cayman Islands, hidden Swiss bank accounts, or highly illegal money laundering schemes. But it's none of that. This happened inside one of the most common middle-class financial products in America, the Roth IRA. The exact same account your dentist uses, the exact same account your cousin opened at 22 and completely forgot about. The man behind this $5 billion account is Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal, the first outside investor in Facebook, and the billionaire mastermind behind Palantir. You know his name, but what most people don't know is the jaw-dropping mechanics of his retirement account. Honestly, it is the strangest, most brilliant, and most unsettling legal tax story of our generation. And today, we are decoding exactly how he did it, why the government can't stop him, and the hidden wealth rule nobody is telling you about. To understand the genius of this move, we have to look at what the Roth IRA was actually built for. In 1997, Congress created the Roth IRA with a very simple, noble pitch. Put in money you've already paid income tax on, let it grow in the stock market, and when you turn 59 and a half, you can pull it all out completely tax-free. It was built for regular working people, teachers, nurses, engineers, who wanted to build a modest nest egg for retirement. Because it was meant for the middle class, Congress put strict limits on it. Back in 1999, you could only contribute a maximum of $2,000 a year into a Roth IRA, total, for anyone. Enter Peter Thiel. In 1999, he was the chairman and CEO of a tiny, fragile tech startup called Confinity. Today, you know it as PayPal. Thiel opened a Roth IRA, but instead of doing what 99% of Americans do, which is buying a safe mutual fund or blue-chip stocks like Apple or Walmart, Thiel did something radically different. He used his $1,700 contribution to buy 1.7 million founder shares of his own unlisted company. Do the math on that. Total cost $1,700 for 1.7 million shares. That works out to exactly a tenth of a penny per share.
Now, here's where the legal magic happens. At that exact moment in 1999, there was no public market for PayPal stock. There was no stock ticker, no Wall Street analysts, and no public price you could look up on Yahoo Finance. So, for IRS purposes, a tenth of a penny was the official value on paper. It was completely legal and defensible because that's genuinely what the founders paid for it. But here's the catch, and it's the detail almost every mainstream news outlet misses. This wasn't a hack of the Roth IRA rules. The rules worked exactly as intended. The real trick was access. A regular investor couldn't walk into a bank and say, "Hey, give me $1,700 worth of founder-priced tech stock in a hypergrowth startup." Regular investors don't get invited to buy shares at a tenth of a penny. Only founders do. Once those shares were safely inside the tax-free shield of the Roth IRA, the countdown clock began. And what happened next is one of the greatest runs in financial history. 3 years later, in 2002, eBay bought PayPal for a staggering $19 a share. Thiel sold his shares in the acquisition, but remember the rule, because the shares were owned by his Roth IRA, the cash from the sale stayed inside the Roth IRA. In just 36 months, his $1,700 retirement account exploded into $28.5 million. Now, for almost anyone else, $28 million tax-free is the ultimate finish line. You cash out, buy an island, and retire. But Thiel was just getting started. He now had a $28 million tax-free war chest ready to deploy. In 2004, a young college kid named Mark Zuckerberg was looking for angel investors for a social network called The Facebook. Thiel stepped up. He directed his Roth IRA custodian to write a $500,000 check to buy an early stake in Facebook.
Think about how unfair this is to a regular investor. By the time you and I were allowed to buy Facebook stock at its IPO in 2012, it was already a multi-billion-dollar giant. Thiel bought it when it was a baby, using tax-free money. He did the same thing with early-stage rounds in Palantir, SpaceX, and Airbnb. Year after year, these private companies grew by thousands of %. And because they were held inside the Roth, there was no capital gains tax, no dividend tax, no state tax, absolutely nothing. The IRS could only watch from the sidelines. By the end of 2019, the account crossed the $5 billion mark. To put that into perspective, in the late 2010s tech boom, Thiel's account jumped by $3 billion in just 3 years. Here is a data point that blew my mind when I first read it. That same year, Forbes estimated Peter Thiel's total public net worth at $2.3 billion. That means his retirement account was worth more than double his entire publicly known fortune. Let's actually do the math because human brains aren't wired to understand numbers this big. If you flatten this 20-year run from 1999 to 2019 into one steady annual growth rate, Thiel compounded his money at roughly 110% every single year for 2 decades straight, without a single losing year. For context, Warren Buffett, the greatest stock market investor in history, has compounded Berkshire Hathaway at around 20% a year across his entire career, and he's considered a god on Wall Street. Nobody hits 110% a year for 20 years by just picking stocks on a brokerage account. It's impossible. Thiel didn't win by picking better stocks. He won because he was allowed to buy assets before they even had a price tag. Now, you might be wondering, if this is legal, why isn't every rich person doing it, and why hasn't the government stopped it? Well, the public was never supposed to find out. This secret blew wide open in 2021 when the investigative newsroom ProPublica obtained a massive cache of leaked anonymous IRS data covering thousands of the wealthiest Americans. The contrast in that data was staggering. The average American Roth IRA at the end of 2018 was worth $39,108. Peter Thiel's Roth IRA at the exact same time was worth $5 billion. Same account, same rulebook. A gap so wide it barely computes. And the leak proved Thiel wasn't a lone wolf. This was a finely tuned playbook across Silicon Valley and Wall Street. The leaked records showed Warren Buffett had over $20 million in his Roth. Hedge fund manager Ted Weschler had $264 million. At least 7 executives from Bain Capital had individual Roth IRAs worth more than $25 million. Congress has tried to fix this, but they keep hitting a brick wall. In 2016, Senator Ron Wyden tried to shut down the mega Roth strategy. The bill died in a politically divided Senate. After the 2021 ProPublica leak, Representative Richard Neal proposed a strict cap. If your retirement account crosses $20 million, you should be forced to withdraw the excess and pay tax on it immediately. President Biden's budget proposed a similar crackdown. But as we sit here today, none of those proposals have successfully become law, and time is running out for the IRS. In April of next year, Peter Thiel hits the magical age of 59.5. Under the law, he can begin withdrawing those billions completely tax-free, spending it on whatever he wants without owing the government a single dollar. When this story hits the news, the reaction is always the same. Everyone blames the tax code. Media outlets scream about closing the loopholes, capping the accounts, and punishing the billionaires. But here's our honest take at Wealth Decoded. Focusing on the tax code is a distraction. It's treating the symptom while ignoring the actual disease. Think about it logically. The paperwork Thiel filled out in 1999 was identical to the paperwork available to your parents, your teachers, or your local business owner. No one banned the public from opening a Roth IRA. The paperwork isn't the barrier. The barrier is that regular people are completely locked out of the room where the 1/10 of a penny deals are made. This highlights the fundamental truth we talk about on this channel. It explains why high earners, doctors, lawyers, executives, can save diligently, max out their accounts, do everything right, and still never close the gap with true systemic wealth. Discipline and a high salary get you a respectable outcome. According to Fidelity, the average IRA balance for people who save consistently is around $129,000. That's an excellent safety net, but it is not $5 billion. What creates catastrophic wealth differences isn't your budgeting or your discipline. It's which asset you are allowed to own before the rest of the world realizes it's valuable. So what's the lesson for us? If you walk away from this story just feeling cynical and thinking the system is rigged, you miss the real value. The lesson isn't to hate the game, it's to understand how wealth actually operates. True leverage doesn't come from selling your hours for a paycheck, and it rarely comes from just buying a standard index fund. Real wealth is generated by acquiring equity and ownership stake in an asset as early as humanly possible. While you might not get invited to Peter Thiel's table, you can apply his exact mindset. Prioritize owning assets, look for early equity opportunities in your career, and understand that ownership beats income every single day of the week. Peter Thiel didn't break a single law. Every disclosure checks out, and that's easily the most uncomfortable part of the entire story. The next time someone tells you the financial system is a perfect equalizer where everyone plays by the exact same rules, remember the mega Roth. The rules might be the same, but you have to ask yourself, were you ever invited to the same table?